I think I've had it for as long as I can remember, really. I mean, I remember as a child finding it really difficult to get out of bed, and my parents would, you know, be pulling the bedclothes off and opening the windows, and, you know, and they'd be go, yeah, and I'd just go back to bed, and, you know, just not really wanting to sort of face the day. As a kid, it was probably pre-12-year-old sort of thing. I think it's triggered by my past, which was that my father was an alcoholic and quite abusive, and that I think he was depressive. His mother was depressive. She was manic depressive as well. So there's both genetic and social sort of influences there. And yeah, it's been with me my whole life. I remember when I was younger, I used to think like, I'd go for therapy and it would get better, and I think, oh great, I'm fixed. You know? And then of course it would come back again, and I'd be thinking, what's going on? You know, I've done my therapy, that's it, surely I'm fixed. You know, it's like, you know, you break your arm, you're in a sling for 6 weeks, and then that's it, you're better, and off you go. No way. So it was, and it took probably, you know, up until I was about 40, really, to kind of accept that, oh, this is me. It's had a massive effect on my life. It's stopped me succeeding to levels that I'd like to in both sport, academic pursuits, work, relationships, just everything. And I think that's one of the real things that people don't understand, that it's not like, it's so different from a physical illness. It's like walking through treacle, and you just, every sort of thing is an effort, everything's an effort, you know, whether it be getting out of bed in the morning, interacting with people, going to work, you know, everything is just, it's like, you know, putting the handbrake on and going for a drive. It's just like, come on, get going. I go through these sort of cycles where I'll have treatment for a while, therapy, and we'll deal with the sort of issues of the day and what have you with the past, and how it relates. And then it kind of gets better, and I go, okay, we're done now. And then 3 or 4 years later, it sort of builds and builds, and it's like, right, okay, I've got to go back in, get some more therapy, and it kind of goes to I don't know whether it gets any better or worse in terms of the symptoms. I don't think that happens, but I think my understanding of it changes, and my awareness of it has got better, and so I'm able to react to it better. You know, so it's kind of over the years I've learnt to do the good things for it and avoid the sort of the bad things. And stopping drinking, that was really, you know, really a good thing to do, because both because I used to use alcohol to try and manage the condition, which, you know, is just like a really bad thing. They stabilise the mood swings, that, you know, so and that's their job, is to, because I get anxiety as well as the depression. So yeah, and they, you know, and in their place and time, they work really well. Like, you know, within, I remember the last time I was on them, I had a sort of near panic attack doing a presentation, and suddenly realised, oh wow, yeah, it's really bad. And then within a month, everything was like, oh wow, it's like, you know, I mean, still feel, you know, pretty shit most of the time, but I wasn't really having these horrible dips where, you know, you're just going way down and feeling suicidal and all that, you know, that sort of stuff. So yeah, so they do, I think they have a great role. You know, talking 30 years ago, experience back in Australia, the church in Australia was awful, because they just didn't, but then again, back then they didn't really understand, so, you know, knowledge has come on. But I think if you haven't experienced it, it's incredibly hard to understand it. And it's just, it's something that's not talked about. So we don't, through society as well as, you know, in the broader society as well as within the church, it's a conversation that doesn't doesn't happen, and that's bad, and that leads to a whole raft of problems. You know, there's stigma associated with it. Then you know, people who are the brunt of that feel isolated. They don't feel like, and that leads again to people not seeking treatment and not feeling like they can talk about it because they feel they're going to be judged about it. So kind of that lack of not talking about it just really compounds the problem. Stigma is a product of a lack of understanding. So the more we understand about anything, the less likely we are to stigmatise someone. You know, maybe get people who are experts in talking about it to just come in and say, look, this is a Christian perspective on it as well. This is the scientific perspective. Okay, this is what we know about it. This is how it affects people. Get people from the congregation coming up, sharing their stuff. Having the conversation is the big thing. And just so that it's like, you know, like anything really, once people start talking about it, it just breaks down all sorts of barriers, and yeah, people think like, oh, you know, I never knew it was like that. When I had a conversation with one of the people at church about mental health, and the answer was, oh yeah, we had somebody who was depressed, but when we tried to help them, they pushed us away and didn't want any help. So it's like, well, what do you do? I said, well, that's what it's like. Certainly when we look at what Jesus did, he loved unconditionally. So that's our kind of goal. Not easy. Hard in practice. Nice ideal, you know, we talk about it, go, oh yeah, unconditional love, it's great, you know. But when it comes to the nitty gritty of living that out, and, you know, somebody, you know, tells you in an angry voice to F off or, you know, something like that, and they're just because they're feeling so horrible about everything in themselves, that's the only thing they can express. Then somebody's trying to help, they're going to go, oh, well, you know, I'm going to withdraw that. So yeah, it's a really difficult, difficult situation. Yeah. But I think, again, the more we understand just about what it is and how it affects people, and to have it more, you know, just talked about, more open, then the greater understanding, you know, the more understanding people have about it, the better you are to deal with it.